One night I was walking through King's Cross and I saw a whole lot of police cars and ambulances gathered round, so I went and had a closer look, and there lying on a footpath was someone who'd jumped out of a 15-story building. I thought, wow, this is King's Cross. I walked a bit further, a taxi stopped in front of me, the door opened and a girl fell out into the gutter, OD'd right there in front of my eyes. This was getting too much. I walked a bit further down Darlinghurst Road. A businessman wearing a Tel Monte shirt and suit and a toupee came up to me and asked me if I knew where the Venus Room was. Now the Venus Room is a rather strange place in Sydney, and it's not the sort of thing that you really admit to knowing about, particularly if you're talking to strangers. So I went back to my hotel room and I locked the door and I thought to myself, you know, I could be a lot safer in New York. It's a lot wilder in the streets of New York, but at least it's not full of crazy Australians.